You're listening to the Back Home Network, presented by Home Field Apparel.
All right, folks, welcome back to Crimson Cast. Another episode of Crimson Cash coming to you. Scott here with you, excited to get going. Before we get to the lines and we get to James, just a shout out to the entire home network. We got Assembly Call, we got Doing the Work, we got the women's basketball show here on the Crimson Cast feed, so check it out, all kinds of great stuff. It's all brought to you by Home Field Apparel. I made a purchase today. I finally bought the Boston University hoodie, so that is coming in the mail. Also got the quarter zip with the nice old school IU logo. It looks very much like a Bob Knight sweater. So I got the quarter zip, so I got some stuff coming. The question is, will it be delivered before Saturday when I leave for New York? We'll see. If not, I have other home field gear to wear. Lots of home field stuff. Check them out, homefieldapparel.com. They've been a sponsor and a friend of the show for years, and you can save money on your first purchase. Use the promo code HOME23 for 15%. Sorry, maybe 25, maybe it's 23. I don't know. For 15% off your first purchase. Home Field Apparel. Go check them out. Wear one for the team. James, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about you, Scott?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good.
Had a pretty good week last week. We missed one leg of our teaser parlay, so it didn't hit. But Michigan covered, and your Iowa Hawkeyes did the unthinkable and covered the under on the 27.5.
Yeah, Rutgers did their part, didn't score. Iowa got 22. I mean, that's a little scary. We'll see what Iowa's over-under is this week. Looking at it now, but it's still low and juicy. Iowa just continues to keep low numbers going. But yeah, not a bad week gambling wise for you. Well done.
Until Sunday, of course, as usual.
No, that's why we don't do an NFL show with you. NFL's
Although I have
tough.
really enjoyed college basketball being back.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. You're going to get a lot of upsets this time of year. So don't do those parlays where you put like 5 or 6 heavy favorites together, because one of them's going to blow it. So this is some early season advice for you there, okay? And if you can get player props where you're betting at, player prop overs are usually pretty good if you know the main scorer on a team. So I've hit Khalil Ware over props on every IU game so far this year, and intend to do so again tonight. So look at the stat combos, the over/under threes, those kinds of things.
Are you going points, rebounds, blocks on Ware, or just points?
I've done both.
Okay.
I've done a PRA combo. I did a single game parlay where I parlayed points and rebounds. And tonight I've got over 14.5 points at minus 120 at DK. So
I would just say for the IU basket, and I'm going to New York, I would just say I wouldn't bet the Indiana-UConn game, and I wouldn't bet the player props on that. I'm not sure how well we're going to show up against UConn. They're really good. We look like we're still growing into our team. And again, we'll talk more about it on the other pods. Like, I'm not nervous. I think it's going to take some time for this team to grow into itself. The showing against Army wasn't awesome, and they do have some things to work on. I think there's time. There's a lot of talent there. But that game against UConn is Sunday. That's only a couple days away, and UConn is really good. So I'm pretty fearful that game's not going to look awesome.
Well, in my theory, you take the best player on the better team and go after them on your early season props. So in that scenario, it would be the best player on UConn is who I would probably be looking to target.
Yeah.
And so just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at some of these early season games. The M'Baku has had crazy high over-unders on points. So just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Well, let's get to football. Big Ten. We got a slate of games. I think almost everyone is playing. We will start with the noon games. Leave IU for the last one of the noon games that we get to. We will start with Purdue at Northwestern, their final game before the bucket. They are a 3-point favorite at Northwestern. How are they a favorite?
Lucky Wildcats.
3-7. What's going on?
What's that?
How are they a favorite?
I have no idea. I'm taking Northwestern on the money line here.
Yeah.
Meow. Take them cats.
do the cat noise. Maybe that should be, instead of the harmonica, we should have the cat noise.
Just say meow.
All right.
Oh, wait, I actually have my cat coming over like making cat noises at me when I did that. So we could get a whole cat audience. We could be the podcast for cats.
That sounds awful. I mean, we already have a lot of dog noises. The cat thing sounds. What's your cat's name?
Elfette, but she's called Ella.
Okay, all right.
And she's my step cat. So my wife had her when we got married, so she's a step cat.
You married into that. It's I mean I think that's a full fledged cat.
Yeah.
It's
unfortunate.
Unfortunately. All right. Speaking of, I have no idea how Purdue's a favorite in this game. I like the Northwestern money line call. That's a wild call. I mean, that's a wild
Northwestern's
line.
been plucky. I also like the over here, 46.5. I think there's going to be probably some points scored. So I wouldn't mind looking at the over too on that.
Next up, we have Michigan going to Maryland. Michigan, I'm not sure if you heard, their coach is not going to be in the game. So Harbaugh will not be coaching. That's made slight news. Maryland is a 19.5 point underdog at home. I would love, right now on the Action Network, I can't see what the line opened at. If this was one of those games where it gave a future line like 5 weeks ago, like when Maryland was 5-0, I would have loved to have seen what this line is, because it must have been like really close to pick 'em, or, it was probably like, Maryland was a 2-3 point underdog at home. 19.5 at home for a team that was at 1 point 4-0 or 5-0 is pretty wild. But anyway, that's where we stand. And it's probably a valid line, but Michigan 19.5 points favored going into Maryland.
This line opened at 20.5.
But that's this week.
So, that would have been on the 14th. Yes. So,
yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's one of those, like, had it been like a future, it had been like, they sometimes have games that are like, they'll have a line for like the Michigan Ohio State game in September. I bet had this been opened 3, 4, 5 weeks ago before Maryland fell apart, that was more what I was saying, is just this thing would just, this probably was way closer to like a 6 or a 3 point line. Anyway, we're at 19.5 now.
Well, and now we've got Michigan against the world.
Yeah.
I mean, good God, these people really take themselves seriously, don't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, Harbaugh won't be on the sidelines, but he's done everything all week, right? He's got. Did you see that dude crying?
Yes.
The interim coach. Like, good Lord, pull yourself together, man.
The two favorite things. Twitter's still solid for jokes. The two favorite things I saw in there was that, one, somebody had that clip of him, crying and going nuts, and was like, all I can assume is that Jim Harbaugh died this morning based on this reaction. So R.I.P. Harbaugh, because it's like, it was so much. And then also was pointed out in a couple other places, like, that coach, I don't even know his name, that assistant for Michigan has a better record against top 10 teams than James Franklin does right now.
That's pretty good. I like Michigan to steamroll the Terps here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what we're going to see. Michigan is the way better football team. Maryland has completely collapsed.
Yes.
I mean, I guess the Terps got it in them to keep this within 3 scores, but I don't think it's likely. So give me the Wolverines here.
I think it's fair to say Maryland has lost their mojo. They have lost their early season mojo. All right, next up we have Rutgers at Penn State. Again, Penn State is just like aggressively happy to be the third best team in the Big Ten East. Like they just do not ever want to take the mantle of one of the top 2 teams. We can joke, by the way, if IU was there, I'd take it all day long. But all that said, it's like at some point, Penn State's in this weird spot where it's like they got to do something. Anyway, this is a game where it's a total get-right game. They are a 20.5 point favorite at home against Rutgers.
Yeah, I think that's too many points.
Okay.
I'll take Rutgers in 20.5.
Rutgers money line, you got it.
I don't think Penn State doesn't have. I mean, they fired their offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
So generally, your first game with a new offensive coordinator is usually a little clunky, right? I mean, Rod Carey's first one, he got Michigan, so but Rutgers defense is pretty good too. So it should be interesting. Shiano should be able to figure out what they want to do. What they're trying to do from an offensive standpoint early enough that I don't think Penn State will be able to jump out to a big enough lead to cover this. And 3 touchdowns is a huge spread, especially when the total is 41.
Yeah. All right.
Although Rutgers will not be able to move the ball.
No. Well, again, Penn State they'll be able to win another game, but not the ones they want to win. Next up, we have Michigan State at Indiana. You know, we don't put up banners in Memorial Stadium, but I would say, you know, this is a moment. This is a moment for IU. We're out of playoff mode. We're no longer in playoff mode, James. But I will say this: for a team that has won 3 Big Ten games in 3 years, to be home and to be favored, that's an accomplishment. Like, we're favored in a Big Ten game. Let's go. Indiana favored by 3.5 over Michigan State. I say put up a banner.
We could put up a banner. You know, the defense last week played with about as much fight as a kitten with a belly full of milk. And
what's that sound like? Give me the sound again.
Meow.
All right.
There's 2 different cat sounds. So that's
the kitten with the milk. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't expect much from IU's defense again this week. The tackling was just, it was atrocious to watch. Like, it was, like Tom Allen said, it's the fundamentals, but it's like, are you familiar with the smash cakes? Like, you go to like a 1-year-old
like the 1-year-old birthday party,
and they have a little chocolate cake for it to like
just crush,
put its hands in and get everything all messy and stuff.
Yep.
Like, if I were to just like go out to dinner with my wife and start eating like that, that's about how IU's fundamentals looked defensively. They regressed that far. So I like the over here. That's my play. I'm going to do what I did last week. We took the over last week, right? And we hit it with 3 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the over 47 here because I don't think we can stop Michigan State. I think Sorsby can put up some points. I also don't think 3.5 is a good number to be taking IU at. I think the Spartans probably cover that. I think they probably went outright, quite honestly.
It's possible. I would say that game last week was like some of the worst secondary play I've ever seen on both sides. Like, guys were just open everywhere.
Yeah. And then the overtime play calling, to me, I mean, I could have put my fist through the TV screen. I was so upset. I almost went full Galen on a door. So
it's definitely,
although that was in celebration.
Yeah, no, yes, yeah. That's a Galen celebration move. The play calling was definitely conservative, I guess would be the nicest word you could say, for a team that had moved the ball and shown that you'd be able to do. And that's what you don't know with this team is there's a world where it's like, all right, well, at least we figured out that Sorsby to McCullough, to Donovan McCulley works, but it's like, I'm not sure we're going to go to that this week because like you just don't know what the way this team runs is. Like they find something that works and it's like they just stop doing it at times.
I mean, he looked like Randy Moss out there last week. Like, he was catching everything thrown anywhere near him.
And you would have thought in overtime, it's like run one play where you just have him go to the end zone, throw it up, and just see what happens.
I'd run that play 3 times before I'd run it up the middle 3 times.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't trust that if this game is close, IU will do the things necessary to cover a 3.5 point spread. In conclusion,
I hear everything you're saying. I also see, smash cut to 2:45 p.m. on Saturday, and it being like a 7-6 game, and you just ripping your hair out.
Well, here's the thing. If you like IU and you think they're going to win this game, wait. Don't bet it pregame because I guarantee you'll be able to get a better line in game at some point.
That's a great point.
If they win the toss, they're definitely going to defer. And they're definitely going to probably give up a touchdown to Michigan State. So immediately you're going to be able to get a better line. So I would hold off if you're going to take IU. Wait till you get them in game.
Great call. All right, 3 more left. We have, here we go, man. We're going to Iowa. We have Illinois at Iowa. Iowa with the 0 offense, still ranked 22nd in the country. That's as many points as they can seemingly put up. That's the max they can put up. They are a 3-point favorite at home. But more importantly, their over-under has crept up. It's 31.5, still ridiculously low for a professional Big Ten college football game, but still not at the depths where Iowa has plunged this year. They've hit their under 2 weeks in a row. The Iowa over-under betting is still open to you, James. We're leaving it open, so it's totally your call how you want to run with this.
Okay, so now this is tough for me because I just saw Illinois put up 610 yards of offense, like something I would have done like on a college football video game.
100%, yeah.
That's literally what it looked like, right? And now they're going to face a team who just shut out another Big Ten opponent last week. So what the hell do you do here? That historically low over hit or under hit last week, 22-0. But that was in danger of not hitting. I think the over hits this week. So I would take that and I would shop out the best lines because you can get it for as low as 30.5 out there. And you can get for as low as 30 if anybody still uses Caesars. So just kind of keep that in mind. Shop your best.
Shots fired at Jamie Foxx and Caesars.
Like it's an awful experience that they're at. But this this has been trending going up. So it's gone up from 30 to 31. Now we're up to 31.5 or 32 at some books. So if you like it, shop around. Get that better over. The point may make a difference here.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Minnesota at Ohio State. Again, is Ohio State going to overlook Minnesota as they get ready for the big game against Michigan next week? Ohio State is a 27.5-point favorite at home.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to overlook Minnesota, but I don't think they have to. Like, I just think they can kind of sleepwalk to win this game. 27.5 is a lot, though, to cover. So I'll take the Gophers plus almost 4 touchdowns there.
And last up, 2 teams that I just would not want to watch. Nebraska at Wisconsin. We'll keep it quick because this is a boring matchup, but Wisconsin is a 4.5-point favorite at home.
Now, Scott, I've got a 10-minute breakdown of this game.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You talk 10 minutes. I'm gonna set a timer on my watch.
This is classic Big Ten West football, isn't it? I'm going to take the Huskers plus 4.5. I don't know what Wisconsin's doing to be over a field goal favorite. So I'll take that. I think this is going to be a very low scoring game. The over-under on this is 37. And I think that could be in play on the under. But I like Nebraska plus 4.5.
We should have I'm going to do this for next week. I'm going to get a sound of an airplane going because we're going west, man. We're going west to the Pac-12. Well, it's still the last year we can do it. Say goodbye to the Pac-12. We only got a couple weeks left of them. Let's go to our friends out in the Pac-12. We got Colorado at Washington State. Colorado is a 4.5-point underdog going into Spokane.
Is it Pullman?
Yeah, I think I messed that up. It's not, but Spokane is not where. Yeah, thank you for that catch. Hey, they're not in conference anymore. They don't need me to know where they're at. You're right, it's Pullman.
Because they're named after famous actor Bill Pullman. That's what the city's named after.
That's 100% not right either.
President on Independence Day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the over here. I think there'll probably be a lot of points scored. This Colorado team,
62.5. You're taking the over on that.
What's that?
You're taking the over on that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Wazoo can't stop anybody, but they've got a pretty decent offense. So yeah, I'll take the over here. There's gonna be a bunch of points scored. Every game Colorado plays in, there's a bunch of points scored.
UCLA at USC. USC is a 6.5-point favorite at home.
Speaking of poor tackling, USC can't tackle anybody. Yeah, 6.5-point favorite against UCLA. I do think the Trojans finally cover. I think they'll actually want to play this game. Speaking of crybabies from earlier, Caleb Williams, you know that thing where he was like hugging his mom and whatnot, like
right
after losing. Did anybody else have flashes of Jeff George's mom coming down to the injury cart when he played at Purdue?
That's a good call.
Like, because that's all I could think of. I was like, oh, what a pussy. Please don't draft him, Colts. Please. And I was like, oh, great. The Colts won't draft him. Awesome. So, well, unless they traded away half their team and future draft picks to do so, which they did to get Jeff George. But that's beside the point. I don't love Caleb Williams for my NFL team, but I love him to cover a 6.5-point spread here in the crosstown rivalry.
Last up on our West Coast teams, this Washington, our beloved Huskers with Michael Penix, they're in the danger zone as I see it because they've hit that point where if they win out, they'll be in the college football playoff because Michigan or Ohio State one of those is going to lose and it's going to open up a spot. But I think they've waited too long. Not that they're trying to lose, but they've now got to that point where if they lose any time now before the end of the year, I'm not sure they have enough to get back in. It may be depending on who they play in the Pac-12 championship, but it's just like they're in that danger zone. I think they've got to now win out. But anyway, they are at Oregon State, not an easy place to play, and they are a 2.5-point underdog going into Oregon State.
Well, we know I love the Beavers.
We do.
They have a great rushing attack. But I love the Huskies too. This is going to be one of those games, and there's a way they can still lose and still make the college football playoff. If they were to lose this or the Pac-12 title game, and it's like some 44-42 triple overtime thriller, that kind of one-loss team can still make it. I think.
I agree. I'm just saying they're in a danger zone where the wrong kind of loss and the other way other teams get bounced around. Like they're just in that danger zone now. I feel like where a loss they could be the odd man out.
But they also control their own destiny.
Yes.
Oregon State is a top 20 football team. I think top 15.
Top 12. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're going to be tough to beat, but I like the Huskies to go on the road, keep the undefeated season rolling. So I will take them on the money line here.
I was going to say at 2.5, like just take the money line. Like if you think they're going to win, just who needs the points? Go money line on this.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
All right. That's all we got. What's your parlay of the week?
All right. So here's the tease of the week. Now 2 weeks in a row, we've gotten 2 out of 3. So we're going to figure out which one burns us here. Okay. We've got Rutgers. We're going to take Rutgers and we're going to get 26.5 points against Penn State. That just seems like an awful lot. We're going to take Nebraska and get 10.5 against Wisconsin. And we're going to take Indiana, Michigan State, and we're going to go over 41 points.
I'm so nervous betting IU, but yeah.
Oh, come on. When was the last time an IU defense held a team in check?
That's fair. That's fair, but it's like this it'll be probably
Wisconsin.
next week. Yeah.
But Wisconsin was playing like their 4th string running back. They had like some kid they had to pull out of some high school in Madison.
Well, and they had a quarterback who was having a hard time throwing, and they decided to do nothing but throwing plays.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, we have one more week, and then we're going into bowl season. It's wild.
Woo! I love it. I'm very excited. And hoops, Feast Week's coming up here soon.
Yep.
Remember when they used to do the 24 hours of basketball? Do they do that anymore?
That was great. I think
games at like 6 a.m.
They used to do it to start the season. Like it was like the first day of college basketball. They just go like Anchorage all the way through. I don't remember the last time. It's very possible they do it. I just haven't. I mean, I don't watch as much ESPN as I used to. I end up doing. Hey,
I'd know if they were doing it from a gambling perspective.
That's
I'd
fair.
be like, ooh, I can bet on a game at 6 a.m. Sweet.
You can kind of do that with the NFL with all the games in Germany and England and all that.
That German crowd was nuts. I don't know if you watched the Colts Patriots game.
I didn't.
But they were all singing Country Roads apparently Germans love the song Country Roads.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Good to know.
It was bizarre.
Well, we like Germany better because it's like we gave them a good matchup of Colts Patriots. I mean, Patriots aren't good, but at least a name team. It's like whatever England did wrong, like we need to stop punishing them with Jaguar games. It's like just stop sending the Jags over there.
No, send the Jaguars. Keep sending them over. We don't want them. They want a football team so bad they can have a shitty one like the Jaguars.
Well, they obviously don't because like they played half their games in London, and then London still doesn't want to pick up the Jags. So, yeah.
Well, they have to change their name. They don't know what a bloody Jaguar is.
That's true.
Think it's a car. They're like, why do we name our football team after a car?
All right, James. Thank you for the advice. We'll have a great week, and we'll figure out a time. Next week, we'll see. We normally record on Thursdays. Thursday is Thanksgiving, which I love hanging out with you, my man. My family would probably be pissed if I just break off Thanksgiving and pull up a pod. So we'll figure out a day to maybe Wednesday. We'll figure out a day.
My family looks for any excuse they can to get rid of me.
That's
So
fair. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna bring all my podcasting equipment up to Fort Wayne with my family. So,
oh, you're gonna be in the fort.
I'm going to the fort, going to my wife's family. Yeah, every year.
Wow. We got 3 different. So.
No
we
comment.
Used to have 6.
95% chance that's gets cut from the podcast.
Well, it's one of the things Fort Wayne's known for. Churches, restaurants,
and they used to be the home of the Pistons.
Yeah, but that's way down on the list behind.
Oh, James. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that's why you listen to Crimson Cash. So thank you all for listening. I
can't wait to see if this gets edited.
I might put a bleep in there. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just bleep you out. That's what I might do. I might just bleep all the things you said and let people figure it out for themselves. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. All right. Until next time, thank you all for listening. For James, this is Scott for Crimson Cash, signing off.
Post time.